Hello, welcome to my fall TBR video. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over every book on my fall TBR and sharing it with you. In this video, I'm going to be going over my fall TBR, all the books that I have on my TBR radar. So I'll be reading these books hopefully in October and November, and maybe some will carry on into the winter time. I have a few books here. I think I have 13 books on my TBR this fall. Obviously in the fall I love to read mystery and thrillers because it's close to Halloween, it's kind of spooky vibes. And so the first book that I have is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I read I think None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, and I really enjoyed it, so I bought this one. And I love mystery thrillers, but this is the only one that I actually have on my TBR, so I will probably be getting more as it gets closer to Halloween. And this one is about Ellie Mack was the perfect daughter and then she was gone. 10 years after Ellie's disappearance, her mother is trying to put her life back together when she meets an unexpectedly charming man in a cafe. Before she knows it, she's meeting Floyd's daughters, and his youngest, Poppy, takes Laurel's breath away. Because the eerily precocious Poppy is the spitting image of Ellie. And now the unanswered questions she's tried so hard to put to rest begin haunting Laurel anew. Very, very interesting. I'm excited to get to this one. The next book, or a few books that I have, are by Kristen Hanna, and I have read Firefly Lane and The Nightingale by her, and her writing is just so good, and I feel like her books are going to be perfect for the fall time. First, I have The Four Winds, and this takes place in Texas in 1921, which I thought could be really fun because I'm in Texas. I'm from Texas. This is like the Great War is over, and I haven't really read the backs of any of these books because I just like to go in like not really knowing, but knowing a rough premise of them. So this one is Texas 1921. It's about the Great Depression and the dust storms that take over Texas in the 1930s, 1920s, 1930s. So I feel like this one, it will be really good for the fall. And the cover just looks very fall to me. The Great Alone, and I've seen like so many good things about this book, so I'm really excited to get to it. It also looks very fall on the covers, the colors and the mountains. And this one is placed in Alaska in 1974. This one is about the Albrights, who is a family living in crisis. They're all alone, living off the grid in a harsh and unforgiving wilderness. I have my cinnamon bun coffee. I use the cinnamon bun Trader Joe's creamer, and I don't know if I love cinnamon coffees, but it's pretty good. It's very fall. It's Magic Hour. And I picked this up yesterday at Barnes & Noble, and I was reading the back of it, and I was like, this feels very, very fall. So a 6-year-old girl appears speechless and alone, and she offers no clue as to her identity and no hint of her past. So this is like definitely going to be a mystery trying to figure that out, and I thought this was very, very atmospheric, it sounded like. So one of the characters is going to try to make a home for this 6-year-old girl, and so she's going to face struggles and things trying to go through that. Okay, the next two books on my TBR I'm very excited about: Pumpkin Spice Cafe and The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. So these are by Lori Gilmore, and I got my copies from Barnes & Noble, and the foil on the front, I love the foil on the front. I don't even have to explain why these are fall because they just are. I honestly don't know what these are about, but I've seen them everywhere. They're popular. I'm pretty sure they're romance books, so I'm very excited to get to these. Jeannie's aunt gives her the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harbor's gossip at all costs. But Jeannie's arrival disrupts Logan's routine, and he wants nothing to do with the irritatingly upbeat new girl, except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. So, a little romance, probably Grumpy Sunshine. And then the next one is basically the same thing, just probably, yeah. So this one's going to be about Noah and Hazel. It's Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. And this one takes place in Ireland, which is kind of like Outlander. I love Outlander. This one takes place in Ireland, and it's about Callum Flannelly and Lark Thompson. And Lark is from Texas, and she is an animator, and she goes to Ireland. And so the next book is one I'm very excited for as well to read. probably a few days before Halloween is The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. Last year I read The Ex-Hex by her, and I had such a good time reading that book. I read it a few days before Halloween, and it was just so atmospheric, so fun. They were witches and in a little town in wherever, it's super fall outside, in Graves Glen. So I'm going to assume that this one is also about witches, and they're going to have a curse and something's going to happen. They're going to have to go on this little hunt to try to fix it. The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This is the only book by her that I have not read yet, and I thought that I would wait until closer to fall to read it. And so this one is about... So Florence is a ghostwriter for one of the most famous authors in this world, and she has a problem because she no longer believes in love. So that's a problem. If you're writing romance books, you're supposed to make them very interesting and good. And if you don't believe in love, then her new editor is apparently a ghost and not actually a human. And so, okay, now we're on to fantasy books. I only have 3 here that I have on my radar right now, but there's definitely more that I'm going to read. And I also want to read The Heartless Hunter. I'm not sure who the author is, but I have it on my Kindle right now, so that I'm also going to read The Heartless Hunter. I don't really know what it's about, but I have seen very good things about it, so I'm excited to get to that one. The next is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This says Jude was 7 when her parents were murdered, and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous High Court of Fae. 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more than to belong there, but many of the Fae despise humans, especially Prince Carden, the youngest and wickedest of the High King. To win a place at the court, Jude must defy him and face the consequences. This sounds really good. I love fantasy with like Fae and fairy and stuff like that. I just think it's so interesting, in high courts and all of that. I love that type of stuff, and this just sounds very interesting, and I'm excited to get to this one. The next book that I have that's a fantasy is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I've also seen a lot about this. I know some people are rereading it, and if it's a reread, then it's good. And I've seen it for like a really long time, and I just have never gotten to it yet. But this one is about a formidable outlaw family that claims to be the first among nations. A son destined to lead, thrust directly into power, 3 fierce young women of the Rattan, the Queen's premier guard. A legendary street thief leading a mission determined to prove herself. A dark secret that is a threat to the entire continent. When outlaw leader meets reformed thief, a cat and mouse game of false moves ensues, bringing them intimately together in a battle that may cost them their lives and their hearts. It sounds very good. The next book that I'm reading, and the last book that I have on my fall TBR for this year, is a reread, and it's A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And I'm planning on rereading this whole series. I'm currently rereading Throne of Glass. I've read the first 2 books in that series so far. And so this one is about Feyre, who is a normal human girl who is hunting for her family when she goes and kills a wolf in the woods, to which she is then dragged into the magical land of Fae. And so here she meets Tamlin, and she goes to the Spring Court, and they're Fae there. And so you're kind of getting to know the whole area, know the magic systems, and know the things that are going on that they're going to have to deal with in this book. And I love this series. This is one of my favorite series. This series really got me back into reading. So I have like read my whole life, and I got this for Christmas 2 years ago, and after that I filled up my bookshelves. I don't know what about it. I just had to read everything in my sight after I read this series, trying to find something that compared to it. So this is one of my favorite series ever, and I would highly recommend it. And then another book that's on my fall TBR that I'm currently reading, trying to get through, is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I started this one maybe a week or 2 ago, and obviously it's huge, and so it's taking me a while to get through. I'm listening to it and reading it, but it is about Jake Epping, who goes back in time to hopefully stop the assassination of JFK. So if you like time travel, if you like Stephen King's writing, then definitely pick up this book. I know it's scary because it's such a big book, but it's really good writing, and he really sets the scene well. And so, like, it'll take you a while, but I think it'll be worth it. These are all of the books that are on my fall TBR, and hopefully I can get to all of them, but I don't know if that's being delusional. I am very excited for this fall. I love fall. It's so cozy, it's so fun, and it's so atmospheric. And so hopefully I can get to these books. Hopefully I can get to these books this fall. I hope that you also found some books that sound interesting to you to read this fall. If you want to see more of my book content, I have a bookstagram on Instagram called Devs Reads Books, where I just post pictures of books and things that I like about my books. And I'm gonna start reviewing on there, hopefully. But right now, it's just a spot for me to post my pictures of my books that I take. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you for clicking on my video. I hope that you found some books that interest you this fall, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.